will be as green as their jerseys. Gone are stars like Isaac Kiefer, Joe Lozano, Brent Picker, and Brett Vasey. The Spartans have just 3 returning starters off last year's team that lost in the section finals to Owatonna. Mayo will have to plug in some of those juniors at just about every position, including quarterback. Junior lefty A.J. Bouquet replaces Kiefer as the signal caller, but James Miller does have a superstar weapon in running back Josh Fulton, who rushed for over 1,200 yards as just a sophomore. But what Mayo needs more than anything is an offensive line to work behind, plus the needed help on defense.
We expect them to play like seniors pretty fast, and I know it's going to take a while, and we have to be patient with them. And unfortunately, you know, our schedule doesn't dictate that. We open up with a tough Mankato East team and with a lot of starters back, but I think the kids will be up to it.
We're working real hard. Everybody's coming together. It's a lot of teamwork, making up for the inexperience, but everybody's got a lot of heart, and everybody's trying out here as hard as they can to get better at what they need to.
I think we should adjust pretty good. We've had a good record throughout all of high school with my class, and we got some big guys and some pretty speedy guys, so should fill in pretty good.
Josh still looks like he's in junior high, but boy, can he run the football. For a look at the rest of the Big Nine plus other conferences, we have a half-hour show coming up on Sunday. I think you've heard of it by now. Prep Preview 2000, that's Sunday night, 10:35, right here on this channel. High school.
We've been working hard. I mean, harder than we've worked the past 2 years, I think. And it all pays off on Friday nights, you know. It's nothing better, just under the lights, just playing football.
The groundwork has been laid.
But we need to get that work in. Go, 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 go!
Teams are geared up.
1, 2, 3. Eagles! 1, 2, 3. Eagles! 1, 2, 3. Eagles!
News Center Sports will be there throughout the season, giving you the latest information on your favorite football team. Tonight, we kick it off with Prep Preview 2000.
Prep Preview 2000, a look at the players and teams that will make headlines during this year's high school football season. With your hosts, Pat Lund and Bill Walsh. Prep Preview 2000 is brought to you by Lewiston Auto, Quick Trip, Carpetland USA, and Subway.
The temperatures outside say it's still summer, but by the looks of the football fields and the calendar, it's time to strap on the pads and headgear and let her rip for another exciting season of high school football. Welcome to Prep Preview 2000. I'm Pat Lund alongside first-timer Bill Walsh.
I'm the Rookie of the Year, Pat. In the next half hour, we'll touch on each conference, the Big Nine, HVL, and SEC, and give fans a sneak peek on what they can expect this upcoming football season.
So let's get it rolling. Every season, the Three Rivers Conference produces some of the best teams in the state. This year is... Over the past several years, both John Marshall and Mayo have been picked to win the Big Nine Conference. This year, the Spartans and the Rockets are kind of selected to be in the middle of the pack, which opens the door for other teams in the conference.
Unlike past years, the Big Nine Conference is up for grabs. The Faribault Falcons, who finished 5-3 in the conference a year ago, are at the top of most coaches' list, along with the Owatonna Huskies, a team that suffered only 1 loss last season in the Big Nine, along with JM. Tana beat Mayo in the section finals, but then traveled to Hastings and lost in the state quarterfinals. Also, Mankato West and East are tabbed to challenge. West finished 500 in the Big Nine last year, then ripped off 6 straight wins to capture the Class 4A state championship. Another team mentioned to contend for the Big Nine title are the Century Panthers. Entering just their 3rd season, the Panthers will have one of the best offensive and defensive lines in the conference. But head coach Ray Barnett has to replace the skilled positions, most notably the shoes of running back Derek Malone.
Dustin Andrus is going to take the tailback spot, and he's very shifting, very quick. He's not a power runner, but he hits the hole well and is very good laterally. Well, we're going to start with Nick Warden. Nick is our first-string quarterback. He was a tight end a defensive end last year, and we used him exclusively there.
The Panthers' shocking win over powerful Mayo last season and a 4-4 finish really gave this group the confidence it needs to succeed.
Oh, that was a huge game. It gave us confidence. It told us that we could win, and that we can compete in the Big Nine, and that we weren't just here to have people stomp on us, that we were actually a high school.
Well, a lot of guys got the taste of victory last year, which we didn't much the year before. Great confidence builder.
the losses helped us a lot too. We know what to do now, and we know what it takes to win.
So when Century talks about competing for a top spot in the conference, they mean it.
Right away, when you tell the kids here and you see the kids working, what they're working for is a Big 9. Now, is that a reality? For them, it is. For us, it is a reality.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you always have hope for that, you know? I mean, you never go on for anything less, but yeah, I think this year out of any other.
All right, take a look now. Take a look.
Even though Jack Drews and the John Marshall Rockets aren't favored to win the Big 9, let's wait until the end of the season to see what this team can really do.
You know, each team's kind of got to find its own identity. So, you know, we got some good kids, and they're working hard. You know, the cupboard's not bare, but yet these teams still got to have their own identity. And we've got a really tough schedule this year. We probably open with the two favorites in Mankato West here, who won the 4A championship. And then we've got to go to Faribault, and Faribault always plays us tough, and I guess they're the odds-on favorites. So anytime you do that, it could be a tough season. If we can sneak by those first two, we might be in the running.
Do you think this team is an underdog, or do you think this is a team that can contend for the Big 9 title?
Well, I think we got a good team here. We got a lot of speed, losing a lot of size from last year, but we're going to contend. We're going to come out and play every week.
Gone are some big guys, so JM isn't as large as a year ago, but by no means are they small. And they do return their starting quarterback, lefty Ryan Steele, a big, strong kid who can throw the football and make things happen. And Steele does have some offensive talent to work with.
Yeah, we're looking for Eric Alstrom's back. He's got some good hands, and Aaron Halda's back at the other end, and Alex Shrevko has got some decent hands, so we'll use him in various ways this year.
I know the offense a little better, you know. I don't have to think as much. I just go out there, be a leader, and do what I do. Our line worked their butts off over the summer, so they'll definitely step up. And we got some big guys coming back, but not as big as last year, but they'll for sure step up.
Set. The story is much different at Mayo. The Spartans returned just 3 starters from a year ago. James Miller and the Spartans reached the section title last fall. This season, Miller will have to rely on juniors to step in and play a senior game.
Yeah, we've been working them pretty hard, and I just think that the more reps they get, so we're getting them a lot of reps, and just talking to them a lot about how fast they have to grow up. You know, we're expecting them to play like seniors pretty fast, and I know it's going to take a while, and we have to be patient with them. And unfortunately, you know, our schedule doesn't dictate that. We open up with a tough Mankato East team and with a lot of starters back, but I think the kids will be up to it.
A junior that will shine is running back Josh Fulton. He's a 5'8" shifty back that rushed for over 1,200 yards a year ago as a sophomore. Look for Fulton to lead his classmates.
What can you pass along, what it takes at the varsity level to win?
Well, you just need a lot of focus. You can't get really intimidated by the crowd or the size of the people that are out there. And you just need to have the heart it takes to go out there and do your best.
We're working real hard. Everybody's coming together. It's a lot of teamwork, making up for the inexperience, but everybody's got a lot of heart, and everybody's trying out here as hard as they can to get better at what they need to.
Gone is 2-year starting quarterback Isaac Kiefer. In is another junior.
We have a junior, A.J. Bouquet. He's a left-hander. He handles himself extremely well. Great leader. He's also one of these junior kids that everybody looks up to on the squad. Just a real poised kid and handles himself extremely well and throws a real nice ball.
Now, I've been to John Marshall's practice, and the so-called experts picking them to stay in the middle, I don't know. I was kind of impressed. They have size. They got a quarterback that's back. So I look for John Marshall to make some noise towards the end of the year. Austin, Albert Lee, and Winona will also be improved. So the Big 9 is always tough.
Oh, yeah.
One more conference to take a look at here on Prep Preview, $2 grand.
And we might have saved the best for last. I hit the road.
It's Sports Extra.
Moved into our new house. Welcome to our new digs, but it's the same old show we call Sports Extra. We're wearing Vikes jerseys because, you know, the NFL season's starting Sunday. I thought we'd, you know, cheer on the purple and gold.
With this new set, they might want to get some better talent in here. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, good evening, sports fans. I'm Bill Walsh alongside Rochester's resident sex symbol, Pat Lund. We have a lot of football to get through, so let's get started. All 3 Rochester Public Schools hosted home games tonight at Century. 2 teams faced off that have high hopes for competing for a Big 9 crown. Owatonna versus the Panthers, and assistant coach Paul Malone is getting the troops all fired up before kickoff, and there it is, the official kickoff of the high school football season. Man, even though the Huskies didn't return 1 starter from a year ago, they look tough. Brandon Hagan scores, 14-0 Owatonna. At quarterback, Sam McKernan, and the 6'2 junior will keep this football, and McKernan smooth sailing all the way to the end zone for the score, 21-zip Huskies. Ensuing kickoff, Panthers looking for a little spark, and Scott Brunoski will give them some of it. Nice footwork here by the senior as he almost breaks it, but still it was a tough night for the Panthers, losing 35-14.
Over at John Marshall, the Rockets entertain the Class 4A state champs from Mankato West. Welcome back to the Big Nine, Mankato. JM just ran the ball right down the Scarlets' throat in the early going. Al Cherevko bounces to the outside for a big gain right there. Then the 6-foot senior will finish the opening drive off with an 8-yard touchdown run. QB Ryan Steele didn't even have to throw the football. Little defense for you. West's QB, Miles Hefner, not Hugh's son, looking to make something happen. But look at Aaron Hall to make the great play. JM has a 1-2 punch in that backfield. Here comes Tim Eggert. He runs hard. He runs low to the ground. 14-zip John Marshall. They open the season with an impressive 28-0 victory. Mayo and Mankato East played with just half the lights. The whole bank on the east side didn't work tonight. Late second quarter, A.J. Bouquet with the timing pattern to Troy Picker and pick. What a layout catch by the junior. 14-13 Mayo. Great defensive play here. Corey Nelson will sniff it out. Nelson with a picture-perfect tackle. Wrapped him up real nice, even though he has the big club on the left hand. Third quarter, you can tell the bank of lights are out. Doesn't bother the QB Bouquet. You call these guys crafty lefties. Little like Snake Plumber, huh, Bill? That sets up the dream teamer, Josh Fulton. Can this kid see the field or what? Fulton in from 14 yards out. 23 carries, a $173 as Mayo also opens with a victory tonight, 26-13. Let's stay in the Big Nine, this time in Austin. The Packers hosting Winona, and the Hawks turn the ball over. In the second quarter, they open the scoring when Andy Fox bulls his way in from the 4-yard line. Packers would answer. Nice piece of running here by Jamie Zavala. Big running room for the big gain later. Give it to the kid again. Why not? This kid can run the football, and Zavala will tie the score at 7 just before halftime. I don't know the end of this one either. Let's check the final. Austin, the Packers beat the Winhawks 27-7. Fair ball all over Albert Lee by the score of 54-0. Two things I saw tonight with Mayo. Very young team, played well. A.J. Bouquet was 9 of 13 for 238 yards. That's good for a quarterback in his first varsity game. And John Marshall's got a couple horses in the backfield. So they got that 1-2 punch with Cherevko and Eggert. Watch out for Owatonna, too. Yeah. Nobody back, but they beat Century pretty handily. Century will get it back together. They got a good line. Still plenty of football to show you on our first edition of Sports Extra. And when we come back, it sure felt like football weather out there tonight. Welcome, football fans, to week 3 of the high school football season, and what a week it was.
Oh, what a week it was. I am Rick Reynolds. Nice to be back in the seat again, isn't it? Pat Lund right beside me. You know this man. Thanks for staying up with us after the Olympic opening up here tonight. We have lots to talk about, so of course, let's get it on.
It seems a bit premature to say a conference title was on the line tonight in just the third game, but John Marshall and Owatonna had that championship feel tonight at the big stadium. Both clubs 2-0 coming in. The winner would go a long way in establishing themselves as the Big Nine favorite, and the Rockets came out showing a lot of emotion, and they set the tone on the ground. Jack Drews loves smash mouth football, and this guy will hit you in the mouth. Tim Eggert takes the handoff. He's coming right at you. Eggert goes 26 yards to open the floodgates. After leaving the game with a cut on his forehead, didn't bother him. Eggert returns, and look at this. Eggert spins, breaks a number of tackles. Eggert is gone. 33 yards later, another 6. JM up 14-0. Owatonna would have to punt on their next possession. Here comes JM. Tim Welke with the block, and Welke gets the kind of bounce from the ball, and he goes in for the TD, and it's getting a little lopsided tonight. Then just before half, the arm of Ryan Steele came into play. Steele moves out of the pocket, finds Eric Ahlstrom for another touchdown, and the Rockets roll it up in this one and improve to 3-0 with the 35-0 victory.
Over at the Round School, the youthful but undefeated Mayo Spartans played host to Century, a Panther squad, surprisingly enough, looking for its first win of the season. Remembered what happened when these two met last year. Century won their first game ever. But that was last year, folks. The Panthers needed a win tonight to get out their season on track, but there was too much of this guy, Josh Fulton. This kid made the Star Tribune's all-dream team before the season started. He lived up to that billing thus far this season. Fulton on the run here, the junior, for 70 yards. and it's 14-zip Mayo. Before halftime, Century will score a very important touchdown. Nick Warden will go to the air, and on the other end is Travis Howe, and the Panthers have some confidence heading into the locker room, trailing by a score of 26-14. Third quarter now. Century knocking on the door, and they make it a football game. Zach Taft will bull his way into the end zone from 6 yards out. 5-point game at 26-21, but the night belonged to Mr. Fulton, folks. 309 yards on the ground. That's the second to Kurt Jepson on the all-time list for Mayo. Here he bolts 44 yards for the touchdown. Mayo is now 3-0. Century falls to 0-3. The final 32-27. The first 4 half turnovers really hurts Century tonight. After getting demolished by JM last week, Faribault looked to shine bright in Austin. And the Falcons, they did just that. Up 21-7. Andy Matzke puts a beautiful touch on the ball, laying it out for Matt Spogarapka, and he scurries in for 6. But Steve Knox's team looked to stay unbeaten tonight. Hard run by Jamie Zavala, and look what he finds. It's end zone, folks, pulling the Packers within 2 scores, but the Falcons answer right back. Matzke again, this time finding Sean Johnson, and Johnson sheds the would-be tackler, and he goes all the way in for the touchdown. Final 34-13 from Austin. Faribault bounces back from that beat that we lost to JM last week. Meanwhile, Albert Lee still having a tough time. Mankato East beats them tonight, 39-0.
Turning to the Three Rivers now. Last Friday, minute loss to East last year. Mankato was just their second defeat ever in the series. Tonight, Steve Knox's kids trying to keep one of the most extreme cases of home field advantage alive in Austin. Things not going well, though, to start off. East's first drive ends in a touchdown. That's quarterback Ben Kaus with the keeper and going 25 yards for the touchdown. 6-0 Cougars. Austin doesn't answer, so East, their next possession, another score. Joey Barr with the screen pass to Aaron Herzberg. Couple of missed tackles, and he's gone. 35-yard touchdown pass. East up 12-0. Still in the first quarter, East again on offense. By now, you figured out they like the big plays. Kaus going deep to Doug Espenson. Caught in the end zone, another TD. Mankato East up 20-0 in the first quarter. Austin just could not get anything going on offense, and the Packers are no longer invincible at home to Mankato East. The Cougars hand them a tough loss. Austin's third in a row, 26-0, the final. Homecoming tonight in Rochester for 4th-ranked John Marshall. The unbeaten Rockets hosting Century. First quarter action, already 7-0 John Marshall. And JM quarterback Ryan Steele, 17-yard pass to senior tight end Aaron Halda. A nice catch. That makes it 14-zip JM. Flags in full flight on homecoming night at Rocket Stadium. Tim Eggert, watch this. Goes through for 20 yards. Boom! Boom! He's in. JM piling it on. That was not for the touchdown, but this right here was. Ryan Steele, quarterback keeper. That makes it 21-0 the score as JM would coast in this one. 4th-ranked John Marshall remains the only Big Nine unbeaten. They beat city rival Century 42-14. It was also homecoming tonight in Mayo, and they trounced Albert Lee 53-6, the final score. And that Tigers still looking for their first win. Faribault in a close one in Mankato over West, 14-7. Also in the Southeast Conference, no score. Well, week 4 was cool and drizzly. Week 5 felt more like mid-August when football camp opened. Good evening, sports fans. Thanks for staying up with us, but I guess it's the weekend, so I guess everybody's kind of staying up with us.
It's past my bedtime, but that's all right.
Oh, hi, I'm Bill Walsh. Sitting next to the Walter Cronkite of Rochester Sports, that's Pat Lund. Lots to talk about tonight. 2 Rochester schools hooked up at the big stadium. I took a tour through the Heartland for highlights of the Southeast Conference. Plus, we have cross-country Mustangs action. Also, the Subway Play of the Week. Think we worked tonight?
We did a little bit.
We did.
We kick it off with the HVL, and the only
John Marshall Rockets. Tonight, JM played host to Century, a team that gained some confidence last week with a victory over Albert Lee. And it was all smiles in Rocket Land tonight. That's because it was homecoming. First quarter, Rockets already up 7-0. Ryan Steele drops back to his right, finds Aaron Halda open for the score. Nice job, 14-0. Second quarter, JM on the move again. 3rd and goal from the 2. Steele calls his own number. Culpepper-esque on the sneak. 21-0 Rockets. but the Panthers would make it a game in the second. Nick Warden rolls out, the pass is high.
Very nice.
Travis Howe is up for the challenge, bringing down the 7-yard TD catch, 21-7. Halftime adjustments, the Rockets come out firing on D. The stick on 4th and short at midfield leads to a great run. Check this out. I don't think our photographer here would get out of the way of a moving train. Chris Swan cut in for the score. JM remains undefeated on the season with a big 42-14 win this evening.
The Mayo Spartans were coming off a loss to Mankato West last week. Tonight they hosted Albert Lee. First possession for Mayo, and quarterback A.J. Bouquet calls his own number, and he goes in from the 1 to open the scoring for the Spartans. Tigers playing without their best player tonight. Quarterback Nick Cunningham, Phil Wacholtz filling in. Andy Davis gets taken down by David Chapman. A.L. punts, and Mayo scores again. This time it's Josh Fulton coming up, taking the pitch and going in from 3 yards out. As you know what? Spartans rolling this one. Josh had a $166 in one half of play. Austin loses their first game versus East in 28 years.
Oh my.
And they get shut out. Mayo and Faribault both 4-1 play next week. Faribault wins, and look at this. Winona scores 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns, and they get a field goal to knock off, and it's an upset, over Owatonna 22-18. Bill Erkey on the Plainview Elgin Millville Bulldogs in St. Charles looking to try to figure out how to slow down the Saints. First quarter, it's Tom. Well, welcome to Sports Extra. Some big football games played out there tonight, and one of those happened right here in Rochester.
Well, good evening, sports fans. I'm Bill Walsh, sitting in next side, aside, B-side, Time Magazine's Man of the Millennium, Pat Lund. There was a lot to be decided tonight in all of the conferences, which included the showdown between 2 unbeatens in the Southeast Conference.
All right, Mayo-John Marshall football. It's one of the best rivalries in all of high school sports, regardless of their records. It's a game both coaches and players want to win because it's something you can brag about down the road. The Spartans came in 5-1, Rockets 6-0 and ranked 4th. A win by JM, and the Big 9 title would be theirs, and nobody bleeds red and black more than Jack Drews, the Rockets head coach, and his squad came out with a purpose. Their first possession, quarterback Ryan Steele back to pass, finds his big target, Eric Ahlstrom, over the middle for good yardage. Steele will then finish off the drive. He won't finish off the drive. This is Al Cherevko knifing through the Mayo Spartan defense. Then Steele will call his own number. He'll go in from the 1, and Marshall makes a statement up 7-0. Spartans punt, Rockets next possession, and they give us Cherevko, and the senior knifes his way through the Spartans defense. He's off to the races. Wow. Nobody will catch Cherevko. He goes in from 45 yards out. Just like that, JM jumps out to a 14-0 lead. Mayo would then gain some confidence. Josh Fulton got hit hard often tonight, but picked up some yards there. Mayo will get on the board. It's Fulton again. He will go in from 5 yards out. Missed extra point. 14-6 ball game. Spartans in business. Wait a minute. John Marshall answers, and the Rockets really won this game up front. A dominating performance by the line. Here comes Timmy Eggert, a huge hole, and Eggert scores 20-6. And hey, the principal even likes that one. JM at half, 28-6. JM got the ball to start the second half and just grinded the ball out, chewing up nearly 10 minutes on the clock, and it's Eggert again. Eggert breaking tackles, going in from 25 yards out. The Spartans won 6 titles in the 90s. They begin the new millennium as champs of the Big 9. Congratulations to Jack and his squad. They're pretty good, 35-14 the final. Century goes on the road tonight and wins big, beating the Hawks 34-7. Kind of a bunch of rivalries tonight. West and East went at it in Mankato, and it's East 35-13. And Faribault, Owatonna, it goes to the Huskies 33-19. And Austin, they get a battle from the Tigers, but the Pack wins it 21-7.
Well, let's go now to the Southeast Conference.
Well, it's what coaches refer to as the second season. No matter what teams have done whatever during the regular season, makes no difference. The postseason is what really counts. Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to a special edition of Sports Extra.
My name is Bill Walsh. He's Rochester cultural icon Pat Lund, and in the next 15 minutes, we'll have all your highlights and scores from round 1 of the section playoffs as the road to the Dome started up tonight.
I'll have to ask you after the show what that really means. An interesting matchup in Section 1 of Class 5A. A few weeks ago, the Mayo Spartans went over to the Faribault Falcons and beat them 14-7. The third-seeded Spartans were riding high tonight after a blowout of Owatonna at the end of the season last Wednesday. For the Falcons, they ended the regular season losing 3 straight games. A good test for James Miller and his squad, and the Spartans would rise to the challenge. First quarter, Mayo has it going. The quick burst by Josh Fulton. Can he hit a hole or what? Nice gain there. Same drive. A.J. Bouquet will use his arm, and this is a pretty pitch and catch, Bill. Troy Picker with the fingertip grab down to the Falcons' 19-yard line. Very next play, where's Fulton? Here he comes, coming out of the pile. Fulton has smooth sailing, 19 yards for the TD, 6-0 Spartans. Start of the second quarter, Fulton gets the call once again, and from a yard out, Fulton would score 14-0 Mayo. It was in cruise control tonight for the Spartans. Fulton, 208 yards rushing. Picker, 103 yards receiving. A.J. Bouquet, a good night through the air. Mayo is moving on to the section semifinals, but they'll have to do it on the road as they travel to Eastview, who had no trouble beating Winona 48-zip.
Well, only 3 teams are undefeated in Class 5A. One of those squads are the 8-0 third-ranked John Marshall Rockets. And while most of the top-seeded teams in the Twin Cities had the night off, JM opened the playoffs versus 8th-seeded Lakeville, a team tougher than its 2-6 record. Jack Drew's looking to keep the troops focused on the goal at hand. Going to the dome, first possession, a ground attack offense, moves the ball downfield. Al Cherevko breaks a tackle, and there's plenty of daylight ahead. 48 yards later, 7-0. After a Panther fumble, the Rockets get it back. Tim Eggert, the Rockets, rolling. After a Lakeville touchdown drive, JM comes right back before half, and it's Ryan Steele barreling.
Hey.
End zone on the keeper. The Rockets show off their ground attack, and with the win, they will take on 4th-seeded Owatonna, 7 p.m. Saturday. 35-12 is the final. A wild one. Owatonna.
Yes, it was.
Barely getting by Century, 38-37. So it's JM and Owatonna. Nothing called in from Rosemount and Farmington, but Austin, nice win over Albert Lee. They will take on the 3-seed Northfield, 7 p.m. Saturday at Northfield.
Section 1 3A quarterfinals from Century.
In one gospel, John the Baptist actually heard a voice and saw the Holy Spirit. And based on this, John told everybody that Jesus was the Messiah.
Yes, beautiful.
And suddenly a voice came from heaven saying, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased."
The Gospel according to Mark, which was probably the first one written, makes no mention